Are you looking for a rig setup where bones can have this kind of automation? It is much easier than we may think. I call it proportional posing, in analogy to proportional editing. There exist many ways of achieving that result, but I'll show you how I usually do it. First, let's parent all these proportional posing bones to a main parent, which could be a head bone. So in pose mode, they will all have this follow-up 100% location and rotations, inheritance. Next, I want this bone to carry those two in different proportions of motion. I'll start with the medium bone by adding a copy transforms bone constraints targeting the major bone. Copy transforms is the easiest way, in my opinion. So instead of the target world spaces or pose spaces, we'll use the local spaces, and usually I prefer the local space with owner orientation, because if for some reason on edit mode the rest positions are different, this happens. However, if I get local space with owner orientation, then we have exactly this result. Next, I can change the influence to whichever I want. Also, let's realign this. And so this is the first one. So I could have like a 50% motion and rotation and scaling. The mix is replaced, so I just can't pose it because the influence is not 100. But if I get before original, I can still pose it no matter what. So this will be more accurate. Then for the minor, let's use the same. So let's just copy this, except that I'm going to get this like 10%. Now, maybe there's a situation in which I want this bone to also rotate in this way. So we can't achieve this with the copy transforms bone constraint, but we could with either a parenting relation or a child of bone constraint. Set to inverse to reset. And we could have something like this. The problem though is that now with the child of bone constraint, if I do some kind of parenting here, I'll end up having double transforms. We cannot parent this, it will become unparented to the rig. So maybe this is a problem, maybe this is not. So I usually avoid the child of bone constraint. Also, in the case of the parenting, it is possible to neutralize some of the transforms, like counter them with additional bone constraints, like copy locations on an invert manner. But now the solution must be with local with parent for both. And the influence here, for some reason, must be 0.5 or less. So here, the locations don't do nothing. More than that, it sort of do some inversion. And less, in between 0.5 and 0, we'll have this, we have proportional posing like in similar ways, right? However, if the rotations, if the alignments of the bones is different, then this gets awkward. It's not very easy to see here, but then what we can do is just get, again, local space with own orientation. And also we cannot extend this more than 0.5, otherwise this stays in place, except when we rotate, and less than that, and higher than 0 at least, then we can have this kind of condition. So this is countering thanks to the invert. It is important to note that the parenting relation is very powerful in Blender, and just as the child of bone constraint, this kind of tilting of the whole block through rotation of the parent bone cannot be countered, or I can't counter it with copy rotation like the copy location. So it's a ballistic motion that is provided only by the parenting relation, in this case offset, or by child of bone constraint. This means that these bones which are not parented to the major, they, as I rotate, they don't get this ballistic motion there. So this is a limitation, and this is why we might want sometimes to parent them directly, like I did in this case. So this is an alternative. Also, if using copy location for this setup, just remember to turn on offset option, so we are sure that we can pose this, but otherwise it's the same idea here. It's just to be more accurate. So that's it for now, folks. Thanks for watching. If you find this content interesting, please like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I also have a Gumroad. I'm putting some free files there. You can support me there too. Also my Patreon. I leave in the description the links. Take care and happy blending.